Do you have lots of paperbacks laying around? Let's use them to make a quick paperback journal. Hi, I'm Sherls. Thank you for stopping by on my channel. Some people commented in my Nostalgic Dream paperback flip-through post that they want to make paperback journal. I thought I should share my process to give more inspiration. Disclaimers: I didn't look for inspiration prior to making mine. My process is very simple. I bet there are other crafters who have done the same thing previously. With just paperbacks, a crafting knife, or scissors and glue, you can have your own paperback journal. The first step, regardless the size or the thickness of the paperback, is to cut this bottom off. I open my paperback using a craft knife or a utility knife, and I just put my knife like so, a little bit wider, and then I insert my knife into the gap that I open here. The reason being is there is the way that this paperback is folded, there is a fold here, this one, and I don't want to waste my energy cutting it. And sometimes I found that there is some glue in this fold here, and it can be very hard to run your knife. Like this one here, let me see. Yeah, here I feel a resistance from the glue of this fold. So that's why after I make a little bit tear, I just insert my knife to be under this fold. And on the other side, it's the same. I just run it. And when I feel a resistance, I just poke it open to see if I accidentally put my knife in between this fold. Just do like this. And I do the same thing first with my knife. Just open it like so. And then insert my knife in the gap so I don't cut the fold that I showed you, like this. And then I work on the shorter side, and for the shorter edge I want to make sure that I don't cut this triangle here. I do not know if you can see yet this triangle, because this triangle is part of the paperback cassette, this fold here. I don't want to cut it, especially when my paperback is narrow. I want to use as much as like paper that for my journal. But if you accidentally cut it, that's totally fine. That's not the end of the world. I believe with your creativity, you will still make it work for your project. So this is the way that the bottom of the paperback folded. And when I cut my knife, I just want to make sure that I only cut this edge and not this one. Well, even though I've been like trying to be very careful, there were accidents. I did cut some of this gusset, and that's okay. Now I already cut my paperback open, and now it's ready to be used on my project. Here I have a stack of open up paperbacks ready to use. Now I can decide how I want to use them as journal pages. Basically, I either cut or glue it together to make it thicker. Sometimes I also fold it so it will fit my journal better. Before I continue, one thing that you should notice after you cut the bottom of the paperback is this. The bottom edges often is not perfectly aligned. If you don't mind, then that's fine. But if you care about it like me, then trim it off so you will have a more like straight edges on the other side. Now that that's all taken care of, the first thing that I like to work on for the paperback journal is the cover. The cover is the one that will decide how tall or how wide my pages should be. I am totally fine if the pages poking out a little bit from the cover. I'm still not sure yet if I like my pages to be way taller or way wider than my cover. And that's why I am working on my cover first. So I already decided that I want to use this grocery bag as my cover. I like the handle. I just like how cute the handle makes this journal. It make it looks like it's a purse. And that's what I'm going to use. I already cut along these two edges so I can flip this like so. I will have a handle on the left and another handle on the right. But I don't like the prints to show on the front, so I'm going to put the print sides like so. The paper bag that I'm using here is pretty thick, so I can just cut this gusset here and just glue these two edges. But I like my cover to be a little bit thicker, so I am also going to use this to add thickness on my cover. So I'm going to fold it like so. So I'm going to glue these two sides and then glue this gusset on the top. And for the bottom one, I think I'm going to make it into a pocket like this journal. I glued the paper bag using my glue stick, and if you notice, I folded the gusset on top of this big paper bag flap. That's done on purpose because I like these rounded edges look better than the raw edges, and for me it makes it looks more finished. And next I'm going to apply this tape all across these edges here. It's not because I still have some part that's not properly adhered, just more I want to make sure that it's very smooth to put my tag or whatever in and out of the pocket. So I'll just take a really long tape to make sure that I have one like straight. This is a tip that I learned from making scrapbook albums. Like, even though you adhere your pocket very well, things can still get caught in these differences of the paper height. Now it will become like very smooth to run my items in my pocket. For the other gusset, I fold it around 1/2 inches in, adhere it, and then use my office tape to make sure that the edge of the paper won't cut whatever pocket insert I later put in this pocket. So I'm folding it up. After I decorate this cover, I'm going to sew all around 4 edges. With the help of the cover, the widest book page that I have, and the digital that I want to use in this journal, I can now decide how I want to use the paper bags as my journal page. The easiest one, of course, is the paper bag with few prints, or the prints that I don't care much if it is showing. And next, I will decide if I want to cut it to make 2 journal pages, or I want to use it as 1 journal page. The main factor here is the thickness of the paper. If the paper bag is thick enough, then I might cut it to make it into 2 journal pages. But this paper bag is pretty thin, so I just glued it together, and I'm going to use it as 1 journal page. And before I did that, the first thing that I like to do is to find where the paper bag is overlapping. This one here. I like to keep this overlapping part in the bottom or the top of my journal page. If you don't care about it, like this cover here, the overlapping part is in the middle of the cover, then that's fine. I sometimes forget to check about it. And so this paper bag is pretty thin, and it is still within my cover size. So I'm going to glue it, and then I'm going to sew around it. If you don't sew, then it's fine, you don't have to. But make sure that you glue your paper bag all the way to the edge so you don't have this alligator opening. And this paper bag, it has this oil stain that I don't really like to show. I don't really want to put a digital over to cover the oil stain as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold it up like this to cover the oil stain and then use it as a pocket page. And the next paper bags are this type of paper bag. It's thin, so I'm going to use one paper bag as one journal page, but it has this ugly prints that I don't like, and I don't really want to use my digitals to cover both sides because I want to use it for something else. So what I did with this type of paper bag, I flip it inside out. It's like this one here. The print now is on the inside, and then I can glue it and then sew around it. The problem with this like flipping paper bag inside out is you will have more creases, and if you don't like that, you can just cut it on both edges and then put the prints like facing each other and glue it, just like how we did the cover. And for this one, it is still fits nicely within my cover. It's a little bit wider, and that's totally fine. I can accept it. The wider your paper bag opening, the easier it is to flip it. And the thinner, like this McDonald one, it may be a little bit trickier, but it's still doable. And this is for the paper bag overlapping, so that will be my on the side, and like so. So this paper bag is ready for me to sew around it, and this I'm going to flip it off camera. And the next paper bag that I have is one with this big thorn on this side and the other side here. This paper bag has a print that I don't really want to show much, and I cannot flip it as well because it has this plasticky surface on the inside. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to use it as a journal page like this, and I'm going to cover these torn edges with my digital, and then I'm going to sew around this fold line and the 3 edges or 4 edges, so it will look like that I've sewn in the paper signature. And for this side, what I'm thinking of doing is making a cluster tuck spot or something just to cover it. And for this side, I don't really care much, so I might leave it as is. That's my current plan. It might change as I put the journal page together. And then I have this paper bag. It was originally like this, and then I cut it apart on one side, two sides, so I have like the front of the bag and the gusseting. And this one, the way that I'm going to cover this print, though I don't really care much, I'm going to make it into a pocket to cover it. So I fold like around 1/2 inches in, and then I protect the paper edge with my tape, and I'm going to fold it just enough to cover the label here, and this will be my like journal page like this. And here you can see like the paper bag is not perfectly like 90-degree angle gap here. If you care, then cut it, trim it. If you don't, then it's totally fine. And for this side, what I decided is to use it as the other direction. So this way I use the like horizontally, and this one I'm going to use it vertically. And again, I'm going to use it as a pocket page. It's still showing a little bit this print, but I don't really care much. And for this page, I'm planning to use this original fold line as my journal page fold, so like this. And then for this big paper bag here, I plan to use it, so I cut it apart and then I fold it in because I want to use it as a pocket page as well. So I fold it like this. Later I'm going to glue and put tape here. and the height is still well within my cover, so I'm good on that. I'm going to use it as a journal page like this. So this one I forgot about the overlap the paper bag, and I'm fine with it. I'll just leave it like that. And for this one, the other side of this paper bag, I don't like this print. It looks ugly. This one looks nicer because it looks like interesting. So what I'm planning to do, I'm going to use this as my journal page signature fold line and cover this with my digital, sew around it 4 edges, and I'm going to fold it in. So in the inside I will have a nice side pocket, and here you have this pretty digital. And then I have this paper bag that I already cut. So it is from this big paper bag, and I cut on this edge and this edge, so I have this one big journal page that when I look is still within my cover. So this paper bag is really thick. I would really love to use it as like cut. I totally fine cutting it apart to make as much as journal page as I can. And this paper bag is very big. It's way bigger than my cover. So that's why I'm cutting it apart into couple pieces. Here it's like this big type, and width is totally fine. But I cut it, and on this side now I'm folding it into half, and I plan to cover each side with one digital, and this will be my signature fold line. And I will have, and after I sew it, I'm totally fine with the sewing threads on the edge. I don't like my thread the sewing thread on the middle of journal page. That's why I'm trying to cover it or to fold the paper as much as possible to make good use of the sewing edges. And then on the next part, so I already cut this part, and I will have like this cassette, the front, and another cassette, which then I cut it halfway in this way. So this is how it originally looks. This one and this one. This is the cassette and the front, like so. I cut it halfway, and I'm planning to use it as a travel page. So this is the original fold line from the paper bag. I will fold it like this, and the remaining page I'm going to fold it into half. So this will make my trifold white journal page. And here I'm planning to use my junk envelope to cover this Pokeworks logo and to make it into a pocket. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side as well. I don't really care much about this T showing or this like circle, part of circle showing, so I will leave it. I also have this paper bag that I already cut apart. So this was the cassette. So the reason I'm cutting it apart is because if I sew my digital like this thread here, that the sewing edges here will show. So I'm sorry, this paper bag originally is like this. So if I so after I sew my digital, the edges of this sewing line thread here will show in the middle of my page, and again I don't like that. So I cut it apart. I'm going to flip it like this, and then I plan to use one digital to cover it like this. So on this side, this ugly like prints will be covered with my paper bag. And on this side, I'm planning to leave it open so it can be used as a side pocket. And for this side, this will be my signature fold, and I'm planning to leave it open as a side pocket, big side pocket page. And because this paper bag is thin, I enforce the part for the pocket with the paper bag from the online shopping or online shipping that sometimes comes with this brown page, the brown paper. I have lots of them which I've been keeping around for, originally intended for my daughter's drawing page, but we have a lot of scrap paper, so we never run out of it. So that's my plan for this paper bag. And here I want to show you the paper bag that I already took apart the bottom, and you can see is not perfectly aligned. And this one I accidentally cut the fold line. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to cut it apart. And this paper bag is way too tall for my cover, but if I turn it like this, still a little bit too tall, but after I trim this part, it might be perfect. So what I'm going to do, I think I will just, and because this paper bag actually doesn't have any prints on both sides, it's very thin. I'm still going to use this as 2 journal pages, and I might back it up with digital or just leave this paper bag as a thin journal page. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do with this. I saw the intricate pages just so you have better idea what I was talking about. I found this really nice big music sheets that I used to cover this paper bag, and I saw these 2 edges first, and then the edges of these music sheets I glued it on the paper bag, and I saw the middle and then the next 3 edges, and that's how I made this page. It's like a big side pocket and a nice small side pocket as well. And for this big paper bag from this Pokeworks, I put journal pages, digital on both sides with the print, and then I saw the middle part first, and finally the 4 edges. And on the other side, I will have this loop. And when I put it in my journal, like a signature, I will have as if that I saw this individually before I put them together. So that's why I like to make sure that my sew stitches is right around the edges or in the near the fold line of the paper. And for this one, I already glued my digital, and I saw this one stitch here near the fold line of the journal page, and I haven't done anything on this other side because I'm planning to put some plaster or something, because this one has a really nice white pages. So I kind of want to make sure that whatever item I put in here is not going to fall down really easily. And to make it happen, it would be nicer if this side pocket is more wider. And that's one tip for you. Make sure that you put all the pieces of your pages first before you sew all around the 4 edges. And that's pretty much how I decided how to use the paper bag in my journal. I'm going to continue working on these paper bags, and then I'm going to post another video showing the flip through of the finished journal. Thank you for watching. Happy crafting. Bye.